Pledge.
Absolutely. Attention to the American flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay. Roll call, please.
Freeman. Berkowitz.
Here.
Hosta. Dean Schlappman.
Here.
Hickey.
Here.
Mitchell. Butler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve minutes for October 2nd?
Motion Dean Schlappman.
Second Hickey.
All in favor? Oh, no, we gotta do a roll call, right?
Freeman.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Dean Schlappman.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Is there any public comment? From the audience? Any public comment? Okay, so no public comment. We're gonna move on to old business. So is it my understanding that we have to open a public hearing?
Correct.
Okay, so motion to open up a public hearing. I was asking for it. Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it. Okay. I like that. Okay. All in favor?
Gotta take a roll call.
Yeah, that's what I seconded.
Another roll call?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Think about land.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Freeman.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Dean Schlappman.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So I believe we'll start with Elizabeth. Is that it? Or this is my first public hearing, so.
Who wants to speak in regards to the present evidence? Otherwise, you can close the public hearing.
Okay, so I have on here that we have Elizabeth Bellotta that was gonna speak on this topic.
No.
No?
She first. She can't. Now she wants to say.
Oh, for public comments on this, okay. Well, can I speak on public comment?
You can speak, I mean, obviously, unless you have direct knowledge of anything, it's not evidence, but,
Yeah, I just wanted to speak about what I believe we're talking about here is just a rewording of the ordinance. We're just making it a little bit clearer for residents when they, get their permits and making their payments and, building their house, that they understand that the information that's being provided to them is not guaranteed by the county, but it is just an offer of information, and that they are still responsible for that information or for maintaining their property for their systems to work. And it just before it was a little unclear, so we're just changing the language so people understand that they have a responsibility to make sure that their sewer treatment systems work and that the county is not responsible for that. Okay, so if there is no more comment, motion to come out of public hearing, can I get a motion?
Motion Freeman.
Second? And does it have to be a roll call?
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Dean Schlappman.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So then you need to actually approve the wastewater ordinance.
The next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so a motion for approval of the Will County onsite wastewater treatment ordinance revision.
Motion Freeman. Second Dean Schlappman.
That can just be a previous.
Previous Hickey.
Second Berkowitz.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next is discussion on Will County Cares, which I understand that name is maybe changed. But Joliet Fire Chief Jeff Carey. Is he here? How about EMA Director John Lukancic? Neither? Okay, well, I guess if they aren't here, we will skip discussion on this. All right, next is discussion for animal control. The reason I keep, if I may, the reason that I have animal control on here is, in District 3, we're having trouble. None of the municipalities are able to take the animals anywhere. All the normal facilities that they would use, the shelters are all full. The county has no provisions for them, and we're trying to find a solution. So that's why this remains on here and will remain. One of the things, yes, Jackie. Okay. 14, yeah.
I would just suggest that this is likely going to get worse as the government shutdown continues, SNAP benefits are eroded, and healthcare gets more expensive. So I don't think this problem is going away, but my question is, did we change the name of the agency to Animal Control again? Because I thought it was Animal Protective Services.
Well, there might have been a typo. I believe you're right. I think it's this kind of the same thing. So I think we know what we're talking about, but if you want to make a note to change that to Animal Protective Services instead of Animal Control. Thanks for that comment. One thing that I would like is I would like a copy of the contract that was made between Animal Control and whatever the facility. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Animal Protective Services and whatever agency is taking the animals. I would like to know who that agency is and how much money and what services are being provided for that. So if that could be gotten to me, I've made numerous requests. Yes, okay, Julia.
I don't know that anyone is here from Animal Protective Services. No. Okay, I do know probably probably at least 2 years, when they've come before us, I've recommended they adopt a program that DuPage County has and many other counties has, which is a fostering program. DuPage County even has a foster program for, oh my gosh, it just flew out of my head. The little furry things, thank you, guinea pigs. It's amazing. They have a foster program for guinea pigs. My son was a longtime participant in that program. So that's a great way to accomplish these goals and even have the public assist. And they don't really give these foster parents money, but they'll give them a care package when they come and pick up the animals. I know with dogs, they'll take the dog to the new home, have a session, 45 minutes, just to make sure the dog's acclimated and observe, the transition to the new environment. I have a friend who just did it last week and they have a new foster dog in their home. And we should be doing that. It's a great opportunity. So if there's any way to communicate that, if Chuck was here, I'd ask him to reach out with Animal Protective Services and excellent. Please, let's reach out to them and ask them what the status of that is. And let's get that going. It's a great vehicle to address the issue we have today. So thank you. I appreciate that, Tim.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, next, let's see, any other old business? No new business? And then we have Kevin Myers from State's Attorney's Office to talk to us about the Safety Act.
Yeah, and I've got Chris Coke.
Chris Koch and Peter Wilkes. Okay, sorry. Mhm.
Chris and Pete, Chris is the, only chief, Pete is the criminal chief. Sees all the criminal, so.
Morning.
Yeah, just hit the button with the little head
That won't be a problem, sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry, I should have been paying attention.
Well, good morning and thank you, Chairman and Vice Chair, and other members. It's good to see you once again. Chris and I don't get over here too often, but we will certainly, when we get the opportunity, we are more than available, and we will try to do what we can. So when we were being told by Kevin and Erica that there was discussion regarding the Safety Act, that is like a very open-ended question. I don't know if there was anything in particular. I can say this generally, and then if there are any specific information that you need, certainly we'll try and answer those questions. So, you know, when the act was put forth and it was signed into law, I believe in some of my appearances, certainly when State Attorney Glasgow was here, and whether it was through Erica, we had advised the county board that we had met diligently with the chief judge's office. We met with the public defender's office. We met with the sheriff's office. We met with the probation department. We met with a lot of people in anticipation of the act because there were some changes, and there have been some changes as far as how we investigate and assist law enforcement and ultimately determine charges. But then also there were court procedures that were changes too. And I would like to say that that was a very good cooperation, such that we were able to make a transition from where we were in the old way to where we're at right now. So one of the things about being an assistant state's attorney, and in particular, when you're assigned into a courtroom, and more importantly, when you're in the middle of a trial, you might have to pivot and change directions in a hurry, on a dime, at a 90-degree angle. And I think that's something that we've done. And Chris and Erica, and there's a couple other people in the office, really had spearheaded that transition and understanding the nuances, and then implementing something that we can coordinate with the public defenders and with the chief judge and the judges. And I think, and I don't think I'm stretching this a little bit too far, but I think that the job that we've done with everybody involved has been more than adequate. And that's just the way we have. Whatever we are given, it's the law. We will follow it. We will make the adjustments. And I think from a standpoint of reporting to this board, Mr. Chairman, I think it's been, we're moving along. There's a couple of hiccups that come in on cases, but it has required us to be more diligent, and some more work has to go into these cases, as you would expect and require from your state's attorney's office, because there is nothing more horrific than to have an innocent person to be charged with a crime unnecessarily, or not to have enough evidence. And that's one of the things that one of the changes that have come into play through the use of the body cams. And I know in previous occasions, when you have had discussions about the budget, there truly is a lot more work that goes into not only the review of the cases to make sure that we have the evidence in order to file a petition to detain if we have to, or more importantly, if there's enough evidence for us to proceed. Once you begin the prosecution process, that's one hell of that person is subjected to the powers of the state. All right. And that's really what this is, what happens on these cases. We need to make sure, because there's nothing worse than having that person. I certainly wouldn't want a loved one, unnecessarily charged with an offense if there wasn't enough evidence there. And we believe as prosecutors that we are the conduit of that. We are the ones that control the gate as to what comes into court. And so for all the roles that people play, the judge, the public defenders, the police, it's a responsibility that we prosecutors want that responsibility. We look for good people to hire in our office so that we can always teach people trial skills. But you can't teach somebody to be a good person, an honest person, and a fair person. And that's an ethical responsibility that we have, which is not found on any other attorney. Prosecutors have that ethical responsibility. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but as we are the guardians and protectors of society and victims, we do owe that responsibility to the defendant. And I can just personally say that if I had a family member that was wrongly accused, I would want a prosecutor that would be able to stand up and maybe push back on the police department and say, wait a minute, we need more evidence. And there's certain things that the Safety Act has required us to do that it takes more time for us because they have a 90-day time frame. They could come in after charges has been filed and they can demand trial. And we had better be ready. We have to get everything lined up. And so the front end of our work is heavy. And that's not to say that when we're on trial, it's not heavy, because there's some nuances that can take place if a defendant doesn't appear. My point is that we do put that time into that case for all the reasons, whether it's because of the changes of the Safety Act or the ethical responsibility that we prosecutors have to citizens. And that includes the defendant. So I don't know if that's,
Well, actually, you've hit on many topics with questions I had. I don't know if they're exactly in the same context, but they definitely hit on them. You know, I remember back to when we first discussed when it was talking, it was not, it was something that was going to bring a lot of extra work to the prosecutor's office. So there was, I know that there were some changes that they lobbied for. Some of the changes were made. I know it was going to be a lot harder. No one questioned the integrity of the office or how hard you work. More concerned about what are the effects now that the Safety Act has been in place, and now that we've worked with it, maybe we'll get a better understanding of how it's doing. And I think if that helps set the tone for the meeting, you know, like for instance, do you feel like that the no cash bail is fairer for everyone? I mean, in you know.
well, is it fair for everybody? I think, I would say, I was going to say that it is the law. I may have personal opinions about things. We all may have personal opinions about things. But the fact of the matter is that it is the law. We are obligated to follow the law. And then that's our responsibility to do the best that we can. And I truly believe, and I can say this, you know, my partners and colleagues can second this. We take that very, very seriously. We understand that we are looked at, and those tough decisions, we don't shy away from those tough decisions, and we will put the extra work in. And I know we're not talking about the work, but there are some nuances and some changes that have, you know, we've pivoted a little bit, but it's like, again, I'll go back to what I said in the opening, my opening comments. That's nothing unlike that we don't face in court, whether that is, you know, whether a defendant is in court or not. So the cash system, you know, without getting into the theoretical aspect of it, you know, the fact of the matter is that, and I go back, my career began in Cook County as a prosecutor. Can there be abuses? Sure, there could be. But I think the judges took it very seriously, and the proffers that we provided the courts as it relates to the facts of the case, I think when you have experienced judges that have been in there, I think they get it, and they would set the appropriate bonds. But again, we're not dealing with that system right now, Mr. Chairman. So, you know, we're making do what we have with it. And
I'm noticing a lot of lights on, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna come
go.
back to some
I-
questions, but I'm gonna
I
let
understand,
other
I didn't
people
mean to
go.
filibuster.
I'm just kind of going around this way.
Okay, thank you for being here with us today. I have a question. You may not be able, I know you don't have a specific number, but hopefully you can give us an idea. How many defendants don't appear for the court date or the trial?
I'm going to defer to Chris because he is the chief of the felony trial division. So he is in more direct communication with the
yeah.
assistants that are in there.
And the reason why this is important to me
question.
is because I know when that occurs, then they have to issue a warrant, and that warrant process is the most dangerous for our law enforcement, for the community, for everybody involved. And that was in a certain amount, an impact of the, you know, cashless bail. So that's my concern. What are our public safety officials dealing with? How frequent is this happening?
So thank you for that question. I don't have an exact number. I can say I was in court just 2 days ago on a case that was supposed to go to trial in which the defendant did not appear. And so a warrant was issued for that person's arrest, which is exactly what you're talking about. What it does to speak of what some of the work it does for the office is those assistants and the defendant's attorney were prepared for trial, had prepped the trial, had met with the witnesses. There were witnesses that were in court that day to testify in that trial. And then because the defendant didn't show up, a warrant was issued. And now that process has to start all over again, if and when that individual is brought before the
So we
court.
know that,
Could you John, I'm not going to stop
I
you. I just
just-
want to clarify his answer.
oh, okay.
Could you say, is it more or less likely that people will return now that we are in this new system?
You know, without having a statistical number, I can't really answer that question.
That's fine. I didn't want to interrupt her flow. Go ahead.
So just to follow up with that, so I know that even though it's not perfect and they do manage to cut them off, we've got the electronic monitoring. Is that done when they are released and a date is set, or is that only for certain level of crime?
So it's on a case-by-case analysis. It depends on, it depends on if the person is going to be released after a detention hearing in which the judge decides that there are less restrictive measures that can be implemented versus detention. Then they might be placed on electronic monitoring. If there are individuals that are have an offense they're alleged to have committed that is non-detainable, they may not be placed on electronic monitoring. So it really is a case by case. I know that the Office of Statewide Pretrial Services is who monitors electronic monitoring throughout the county. And, you know, I think their numbers are in the hundreds as far as people that are currently being monitored by them.
Okay, and last question regarding that.
Again,
Yeah.
I just clarify because I don't want to re-ask the
Mhm.
question because your questions are all in line with mine. So do you feel like that with all the electronic monitoring and these different ways of without incarcerating, do you feel that has that put the community at risk at all?
So what I feel, I don't think would be appropriate for me to answer that. How I feel, as far as from the standpoint of the community, the concerns with electronic monitoring are you might know where they are when they commit a crime. So some of the arguments that are made in court are that, you know, by placing somebody on electronic monitoring doesn't mean that they won't go out and potentially put the community at risk. They can cut those off, which can be an offense in and of itself. So it really, again, you know, it depends on the type of offense the person is on electronic monitoring for as well, too. So,
Okay. Sorry, go
And
ahead.
the last, just, this is regarding the financial impact on the county. Obviously, the Safety Act brought some financial discomforts to the county, our cut into our revenue, which we applied towards expenses with the no longer being able to have bail. But also, we're incurring more expense because the warrant, the process of having to issue a warrant and go out and find these people has obviously increased somewhat. So can you give us an idea of financially how this Safety Act has impacted the county from not only the state's attorney's office, but what sort of a financial, I'd like to see the financial impact from the sheriff, the Will County Sheriff as well. So I would ask that both of your departments do the best you can to determine what that cost is and provide it to us. Because I think as a board, I will follow up with this, but I am proposing that we issue a resolution to Springfield that we need to be reimbursed for this. It's It's their legislation.
So appreciate,
So if you could,
yeah. if you could-
Yeah, I think, well, I think Chris wants to say something. I do too. So I will begin by just saying this. Whether it was the Safety Act or whether it was the old Bail Act, when we're on trial and we're working Saturdays and Sundays and prepping witnesses, or we're working late at night, there's no cost. This is what we do. That's part of our job. That's what our salary is. So we're not getting overtime or doing anything like that. So from the actual trial itself and our preparation, that there's no cost. We just work. We just work. We have to get the job done. We have to prepare for trial. I can say though, what has happened as a result of the Safety Act and the filing of the detention petitions is that we have a shorter time frame in order to get the evidence from the arresting police department and then get them into court. And our holiday court has been impacted. I don't have the figures for you. We could get the figures that under the old system, we were able to address matters in holiday court on Saturdays and Sundays, and then during the week or whatever the holidays are, with one assistant state's attorney appearing in bond court to provide a proffer to the judge and one secretary. But because of the shortness of that, we now have to have two assistant state's attorneys and we have to have two secretaries in there, because what happens is when we're dealing with 48 hours, and if you're dealing with an arrest on the far east end of the county, sometimes they don't get the arrestee over into the jail, which then triggers the reports coming to our office. So we have sometimes, and they could be sitting on an arrestee for 24 to 36 hours. We've got to get that person in front of the judge in the 48-hour time frame. And so if I get the budget restrictions out east, but if they come over and then they show up in Saturday or Sunday in holiday court, we've got to deal with that. And that's why we've got to go to two secretaries and have two assistants, because we have to prepare the paperwork for the next day in court so that we can file the necessary paper, whether it's a petition to detain or whether we are going to be asking for certain conditions on there. So I can, there's a number there that can be provided. So.
All right, thanks. And you turn your light off? Okay, so Jackie, you go ahead.
Thank you. Do you know how much money we've saved on the cost of incarcerating people? Probably not.
A dollar, I do
You
not.
were
No, ma'am.
prepped for that. You don't know what the population of the jail was a year ago versus the population
Chris,
5 years
actually,
ago?
That's something we can't answer.
Can't.
I do
Okay,
know
good.
that. On the day after the implementation, which I believe was September 18th of 2023, there were 551 people in the Will County Jail. As of this morning, there are 465.
Okay, so we're saving some money there. I wouldn't assume that we're recouping everything. But I heard the question about, the impact to the community because we're letting people go, or I can't remember exactly how it was phrased, but I frankly would be very interested in the impact to families that prior to this would have had a family member incarcerated for maybe something they weren't guilty of, but because they were arrested, they were incarcerated, didn't have bail money. Now the breadwinner no longer can support the family. They may get evicted. I mean, the effect of this is huge when we put somebody in jail. So I mean, frankly, if we're going to worry about effects, I want to know about the impact, the positive impact that this has had on families. I would be just as equally interested in that. Because, we're seeing that now with the government shutdown. You've got people that have got to report to work, but they don't have any paycheck to pay the daycare company. It has an impact. Everything has an impact, both positive and negative, depending on your point of view. So I appreciate hearing from you guys today. I've been on the board 17 years, never seen you before. Don't know you from Adam.
I'm very indistinguishable. I have been here and we have had, but that is okay. I don't take it personally. That means I didn't do anything stupid.
There
So,
you go. There you go. Because that's when I remember people, right? They've done
Nor have
something
you
I
now.
don't like. So,
yes.
but yeah, I haven't been to this committee very often as of late. So, but thank you for being here today. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having us.
So to the point of that we're possibly saving costs in the jail or whatever with having less people stay for longer periods of time, would I guess I would wonder if the fact that there is no bail being collected, if there's a financial impact to the county on that. I'm assuming there probably would be for the courts and everything else, because I know that money was used for particular expenses and things of that nature. And then also with letting people go, you know, before their trial and everything else, in that same respect, I'm wondering what the percentage of those people who have been let out are causing a crime even before they get back into court. If there would be a way to say, oh, by the time they're coming back, and maybe then the reason they're not coming back is because they have multiple offenses for multiple things. And during that period of time where they were released, even within a 12-hour period, if they are being arrested more than once within that 12-hour period, because I know for certain that that has happened.
And I think it happened under the old system and a new system. If you commit a crime, you're going to commit a crime, and it has happened. So this is nothing new, and we've been doing this for a long time. So and there is a process. You know, if you are released and you have conditions on you, we do have a means to, and we are notified of that new charge. And then that case that is pending, our assistants can file petitions in front of that judge. Now, there are ramifications as far as what we can do with that, but we're aware, and they will be charged accordingly. So
Yes, if you're currently on pretrial release for a Class A misdemeanor or any type of felony offense, and you are charged with a subsequent Class A or felony, then the state can file a petition to revoke your pretrial release and have a hearing in front of that judge to determine whether or not the likelihood of that person appearing in court is at risk, or the likelihood that that person might commit another offense. And if the judge finds that there's no combination of conditions that can ensure their appearance, or that they won't continue to commit offenses, they can revoke that person's pretrial release and take them into custody.
So just before we get to Sherry, would you say under the new system that repeat offenders are more likely to be released?
are repeat offenders more likely to be released? It has a lot to do with the new charge as to whether or not they will be eligible for the release. And again, Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to avoid an answer, but it's if you're inclined to commit a crime, and you might be more prone to do it again. And whether it's the old system or new system, I don't know if that really has an impact on it.
Really, like normally, well, in the past, if people were repeat offenders, they would get a higher bail. So now,
True.
I'm just saying, is it easier for repeat offenders to just be released and not?
It certainly is an all or nothing proposition, isn't it? Right? I mean, you're either in or you're out. I mean, that's really what it comes down to under the Safety Act, and under the old way of having a cash bond bail system. You know, a judge can take into account not only the facts of the new case, but then also take a look at the criminal history, which of course we're aware of by way of the leads. So I don't.
The only thing I would say, Mr. Chairman, is that I guess one difference between that situation with bond and the current status of the Pretrial Fairness Act is that under the old system, a judge could look at your criminal history, depending. It didn't matter what type of felony offense that you were charged with, and they could set a bond, whether it be a high bond or a low bond. Currently now, there are some offenses that, despite criminal history of a defendant, they're just not detainable. And those are some of your lower level felonies, such as, a retail theft or something like that. So you could have someone who could have a very lengthy criminal history, but because of the actual charge that they've been charged for, that it's just not detainable. There's nothing that the judge can do. So I suppose that would be one of the differences that exists now. But otherwise, it is on a case by case. One of the factors that the judges look at on detention hearings is the nature and circumstances of the case, but then also the criminal history or lack of criminal history that a person has when they're making that decision as to whether or not to hold that person in custody pending trial.
Thank you. Sherry?
Well, I just wanted to, under the old system, if you were charged with a crime and you could post bail, if it was $1 million and you could post bail, you would still get out of jail, even if you had committed a murder or whatever it was. So in that sense, the Safety Act is no different than it was. The only thing is you don't have money, you have to stay in jail under the old system. Again, cash bail should not be the reason we keep somebody in jail so that we can get money for the county. That's just ridiculous. But again, anybody can post bail. If you can post bail, you can get out of jail no matter what. So how was that any different than what it is now? Is all I'm saying.
Kelly?
Thank you. Well, Member Williams said it very well, but I'm kind of going along those same lines. What I'm seeing is the Safety Act, from what I've read, was meant to take out the means testing of, a family's economic situation, because that isn't necessarily tied to potential recidivism, is it? I mean, necessarily? Yeah, so.
You're asking, does it, like the financial condition of an individual, will that impact the likelihood of offending?
Yeah, I guess that's,
I suppose it could. Again, it's such an individual case by case of whoever that person is and whatever facts and whatever their reality is. I think that is more,
okay, so.
if that answers your question.
I mean, it's just, I'm
That's
just trying to
everything I have
say,
answered,
I
but-
think that these are big moral questions that we're talking about, and we're trying to talk about a statute that, some people are happy with, some people aren't. But regardless of our feelings on it, it is the law, and that's what we follow. So I, for one, am all for making sure that we are not punishing people into a downward economic spiral especially if we don't know their guilt or innocence at that time. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Just to follow up on the bail situation, I mean, bail is returned once you come to court, correct? In the past, under the old system.
Yes, I mean.
I
when
mean, the
case
county
is
didn't get
finished-
to just keep that money.
I think it's 10%.
10%.
Okay.
Yeah, 10%. And then if you would, on occasion, have a private attorney may file a petition for release of that bond to his or her fees. So, yeah, it returned, it could, 10% is kept by the clerk, and then it can go to attorney's fees.
And
Under
the bond would also cover your court costs, could apply towards restitution as well if there was a victim involved and it suffered monetary loss. So the bond money would be applied to various different options.
I think what Member Williams was saying, if I'm not mistaken, was that if you were wealthy, it didn't matter if you were guilty or innocent. You could get out of jail. But if you weren't wealthy, you were stuck there. And that has economic impacts to your friends, to your family, excuse me, and your future, which might then send you into the spiral that another commissioner mentioned. And, to me, it shouldn't be based on how big your bank account is, whether or not you get out of jail. I think it makes sense to have it based on the crime that you're accused of. And again, you're just accused. You're innocent in our system. And I think we tend to forget this. We automatically convict people without a trial, just because they got arrested, just because they got a ticket, whatever the circumstances are. They are in this society today.
Sure.
People are convicted without a trial.
And that presumption of innocence.
Not by
Yes, I was going to say, I know you weren't insinuating
Yeah,
that we feel
not
that way. We do. That everybody adopts. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Supposed to be.
We have no problem with that.
That's the law.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So I think we got a bit off track here. We're not here to defend the Safety Act, but we are here to talk about revenue. And the county's revenue through the Safety Act has taken a hit. It's taken a great hit. We're hearing that from the state's attorney's office. We're hearing that from our sheriff. Okay, our bills are still there. Our costs are still there. We only get our revenue from the taxpayer. And this has had a negative impact to the county. So let's focus on that. I think I'm looking forward to the information that you provide us with on that. Maybe it shouldn't be revenue report. Maybe it should be fiscal report rather than state's attorney revenue report. But I think we need to stay focused here, and let's find out. Hopefully, I'm not sure. I don't really know what the changes were through veto session. There's so much stuff floating out there. We haven't really received a review of any changes during veto session to the Safety Act.
Well, State's Attorney Glasgow has got that, down to a T
Okay.
as to what had happened and how that.
All right.
So, I mean.
So if we haven't
Chris and I
received
apologize, we don't have
anything,
that in front of us.
yeah, and we haven't received anything from our lobbyists, so perhaps maybe,
Do you mean this past veto?
yes,
Oh,
days ago.
I'm not aware of anything. Oh, yeah. So just by way of history, I'm not aware, and neither is Erica, of anything that's happened in the veto session.
Okay.
Everything
know.
that we're aware of change-wise happened during our litigation. And that was a 500 plus page trailer bill. But I have not, and you guys haven't seen any real major changes since the implementation date. So I'm not aware of any movement or any bills that have been introduced to change the Safety Act.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. So we'll look forward to the information regarding our, fiscal status and, so we can stay focused on maintaining public safety, because that's one of our top priorities here in the county.
And I will say, the state's attorney's office doesn't collect any fees related to the Safety Act or in the bail system either. Most of those would go to sheriff's transport, those sort of things. The state's attorney's office isn't necessarily directly financially impacted by either system. So perhaps that might be more appropriate to come from the finance department to see what those things are coming in, because we're not really getting that. There is no like state's attorney prosecution fee that comes out of bail.
So Kevin, the cost.
Hold on one sec.
The cost for manning the courthouse, in the lobby, the law enforcement, I don't know if they're retired or what the current,
The courthouse safety
status.
officers.
yeah, that's a tangible cost. You've got it every minute that courthouse is open. So those are costs.
Sure, and those existed pre the Safety Act.
Yeah.
But I just want to sort of put the point of like, I don't know if the state's attorney's office can provide you those direct numbers, because financially, other than, as Chris and Pete have said, like, the extra assistance we've had that you guys have provided us, those are really our direct costs. The cost of the body cam systems and storing that, because we need to review a lot more things. But on those other things that we've been talking about this morning, those don't directly come from the state's attorney's office. So that may be a conversation to have with like Rashawn about what we're seeing differently, and how the budgets have changed for sheriff who hires the CSO. We don't maintain those courthouse security.
CSO?
I'm sorry, courthouse security officers.
Okay.
Those
so
aren't, they're
the
not
sheriff-
employed by us. Yes.
Okay.
We have a team of investigators, but those again are independent of the Safety Act. The courthouse security officers are hired by the sheriff.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, just in closing, because I don't think there's any more questions, just to be clear, we had asked the sheriff's department to come, we've asked the state's attorney. A lot of times bills get passed and, there's a lot of controversy on whether or not it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. Enough time had passed. I thought it would be good to have our departments who are, working in most closely with this act, that they would come in and be able to explain to us if it's been a help or a hindrance, if this has been a good thing for the justice system or not, and explain some of the the pitfalls or the benefits. It's purely what it is. So I know sometimes people like to give their own opinions, but just wanted to find out how things are going, nothing more than that. And I don't mean this to be a trick question or anything. I just want to just ask, do you feel that this has been, the Safety Act has been a benefit? Has it been a hindrance to the justice pursuit or what?
I would just say, and again, at the state's attorney's office, we follow the law. So that's the current law. And that's the law that we follow and we fight for every day. I do want to say thank you to the entire county board, but to always funding us. because it allows us to go through those cases in a lot of detail at the very front end of that. So I do appreciate that and thank you for that. But that, I mean, the law is what the law is, and so we follow it to the best of our ability.
No comment. What, how, do you want to take a stab at
Really,
that?
we are, I wholly would adopt what Chris had said, and it's, you know, look.
Okay, I get it. It's fine.
We're fighters. Okay, it is what it is. We are given a set of circumstances, and then we will find a way to get through it. And we are able to obtain our convictions. We're able to get people in the problem-solving courts that need the help, that may have underlying issues. We will make those decisions. And if I just adopt what I said, Mr. Chairman, we want to make that decision and we want to do the extra work. That's the truth. We appreciate that. We understand the money. We're not looking to spend money when it comes in. We truly are not. When we go down to supplies, we don't take a whole handful of pens. We'll take one pen, one legal pad, and we reuse things too. So we're very, very conscious of that. And like Chris said, we're very thankful what you do and what you provide to us because we're conscious of that fact. We get it. It's the people's money.
Fair enough. Appreciate your oh, you do have comment. Okay. Oh, you're on. Go ahead.
I just want to say I appreciate all that you do, and I know that you have been awesome. The whole state's attorney's office, whenever I call or email anyone, I always get a response, and I would encourage everybody else to do that too. Because, you know, things do pop up and you have a question and it is hard for you guys to get here. I appreciate you being here today. But yeah, it's an email, it's a call, and you guys are great about responding. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Again, I would also like to continue and thank you for your time in coming here. And again, I don't want you to feel that this was an adversarial. It was purely just informational because I know, I just like to find out if things worked or not.
We don't mind the tough questions. We do that in court every day. Okay, there's a judge, there's defense lawyers, there's public defenders, and that's the nature of us. We're quite used to it. So, you know, I will just say, I think they have the most difficult job because sometimes we're asked questions, whether it's in the civil capacity or in the criminal capacity. And sometimes we assess the situation, we provide an answer, and it might not be the answer that the recipient wants to hear. We have conversations with police officers on charges that we don't approve of charges, and they're upset with it because of what we believe we need. And it's not personal. We're just doing a professional job, and that's our job as a lawyer, and it's our responsibility as a prosecutor. So.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Good to see you.
Okay. I don't see that we have any other new business. No, on to informational reports. Elizabeth, would you like to give your update?
They're already on.
Okay.
Listen, microphone is on, so.
Yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Yes.
Good morning. Elizabeth, County Health Department. You have my report in your folder there, but hopefully I just wanted to highlight a couple things. October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so the Health Department had a lot of different things going on, including social media posts and information and education for staff and clients. One of the other things too is when the new school year started, there's always that rush to get kids their physicals and get kids their immunization. So not only did our Family Health Services Division and their immunization program assist with making sure that kids had their immunizations, and so they were not excluded, but so did our Community Health Center. And so they were able to actually go out to numerous schools, vaccinate the kids right there, and then they were not excluded from class, which is always a positive thing. Also in Family Health Services, in our WIC program, we are an advocate for breastfeeding, of course, and this was the first quarter across all of our divisions, Bolingbrook, Moni, and Joliet, that our WIC babies exceeded the rate for breastfeeding over the state goal. So we are all very excited about that. Also then in environmental health, I wanted to highlight that our laboratory had their accreditation for chemistry and they passed with no deviation. So great job, EH, for that. Also, November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And I don't know if you know, but radon is the second leading cause for lung cancer. And the health department does have a small radon grant from the state, but we also sell radon canisters that you can purchase, test your home for $8. You get the canister and it actually includes the postage back to the company and then they send you the report. So keep that in mind if you're interested. And then our behavioral health division continues to work with the City of Joliet Fire Department and their Thrive program. We are one of the agencies that they refer to. And so we have that going on and that continues. And then I just wanted to update you on our behavioral health, school-based mental health services. We're in over 40 schools at this point throughout the county. And as you know, this report is really just a summary. For our Board of Health, every division has to actually submit a full report, including statistics, to our Board of Health. So there's a lot of other things going on, a lot of other services, but this is just a summary. I just wanted to, I don't know if you knew that, but Micah does because she gets that long packet.
It's a really long packet.
Questions?
One sec.
I just wanted to say, Elizabeth, how much I appreciate your newsletter, your new one.
Oh.
Very nice format, very easy to read.
Thank you. So that is one of our strategic planning initiatives. So we send a newsletter out to not only you, but our Board of Health, but our local legislators. And it's one of our forms of advocacy so that we can always be maybe on their mind when public health legislation comes up. Maybe they think of us, hopefully, so we just want to always get that out there.
very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you for your comments. Any other questions? Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, I was being.
Okay, next, from Public Health and Safety, Kathleen Burke, Dr. Kathleen Burke, sorry. Oh, she's not here. We have someone filling in for,
I won't touch anything.
I just state your name.
Hi, good morning. So my name's Connie DeWall. I'm the program manager for Will County Substance Use Initiatives and partner with Dr. Burke. She's not here, so here I am, and I don't have the presentation, but there it is. Everything is looking good. We're still trending down, 56% fewer overdoses within the last month from last year. Our team is still working hard getting Narcan out there, but I wanted to touch too that we do so much more than that when we're out in the community. We're kind of the linkage and we provide a lot of linkages to treatment if someone has a barrier. So we're more than just a Narcan rapid response team. We do a lot more, and especially I think it was touched on with the cutbacks with the food pantries and Medicaid and Link. We're out there trying to assist people to food pantries or different places because the last thing we would want, we've worked so hard for not only our overdoses to go down, but also providing linkages to treatment. The last thing we want is someone to revert back because of stress. That's going to lead maybe someone back to a substance use issue when they've had some points of sobriety. So we want to make sure we're out there providing linkages to not only the health department, but anywhere that we can get help to someone. This is just there have been 22 overdoses so far. I just checked with the coroner. Nothing has been updated yet. So we're at 23 overdoses for the year. What I have noticed, and with Dr. Burke, is our reversals are coming in. So that's when someone's been reversed from the police department. We've noticed that's going up too. So that's good that the reversals people are using Narcan. So that's good too. So the reversals, but what that's telling me is that our usage is going up a little bit more. So we want to make sure we're watching that. Again, stress levels, stressors, that's what happens. So hopefully things will change, but we're going to continue to monitor that. That's just an update. We gave out 889 boxes to the public, 32 in training. Our micro pantries have picked up a little bit, especially with the food pantries and micro pantries. We're always putting Narcan and information in there. And then we've added those red distribution boxes. We've given out 356. We're adding more. So we're touching out more to create Piatone out in that area. And we've also been working with the library since of that legislation. We'll now have a red box in the Piatone library. So we have one in Frankfurt, Piatone, Crest Hill, all our other libraries, but we're really working hard and making sure not only the libraries have them, but they're all trained. So the total for October was 1,426 boxes, which is great. And then you can go into our pop-ups. Those are just places that we're at regularly, some new places. We had some fun. It was trunk or treat. October is always fun. It's our way of getting out into the community. So we do give people resources. So while the kids are getting candy and doing our trunk or treat, we decorated our trunks. We can side hustle to the parents or talk to someone about if they need anything while the kids are enjoying their time at the trunk or treat. So those are just kind of a list of some of the pop-ups, but I think we were over 79 locations for the month of October. There's just some fun pictures. We were at Men Who Cook. That was fun. There's one of our team members. She decorated her trunk. Keeping an eye out on carfentanil. I added this because there was an overdose death with someone who had fentanyl and carfentanil, and I did add that in, and I talked to Dr. Burke about it. That person was actually a very good friend of mine, her son. So her son had about 11 months sobriety. He was under a lot of pressure. He was trying to get a CDL, and he ended up buying a Xanax pill. And that Xanax pill was carfentanil and fentanyl. So we wanted to keep an eye on that. There's been one, so that was him for Will County. So I wanted to add the effects into that of what it is and the difference between fentanyl and carfentanil and how dangerous it is, and how that caused just by a decision. He bought a Xanax bar thinking it was counterfeit, and that one pill can kill, and that unfortunately got him.
So I had a question. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
Were you done talking?
For that, yes.
Okay.
I going back to the slide where it shows opiate overdose deaths. The coroner before the county board, I can't remember which committee meeting it was, whether it was finance, but the coroner, I asked a question and she indicated that fentanyl deaths were down. However, cocaine is the new thing.
Right.
So is that included in opiate, or is that a whole different drug designation?
So on her, she'll have overall drug use deaths, and then she'll separate it to the heroin, fentanyl. But you'll see cocaine will be there listed with fentanyl. So it could be
Okay.
a cocaine user who just happened to have it laced with fentanyl. But you can overdose,
So
basically.
is that reflected in this graph?
Yes, it
Because
is.
she said those deaths are up, but then you have for 2025, 100% reversal.
She's probably looking at the drug itself that is up with the usage of the drug up.
This was, I believe, and I'll listen to it again, but
Yeah.
I believe the response was those deaths were up.
For cocaine
versus
usage.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll look at that because she separates
because
it, yeah.
This is a small little piece, but it's not the big picture.
And that's all we focus on. So those overdose deaths are strictly just an opioid related death. So when she's looking at cocaine, maybe cocaine itself as an overdose, which cannot be reversed by Narcan. So that can't be a reversal, but she's looking at probably cocaine. And then, so when you look on the corner, you can see how she separates everything. So what she was referring to is probably cocaine usage was up. And then that's how that came. I'll have to
Right.
listen to it because I'm not sure.
Narcan cannot reverse.
Not a cocaine, no.
And, okay, all right. And is she working with the state of Illinois, or do you work with the state of Illinois regarding this increase now in cocaine usage and, possible deaths?
So we're keep an eye in Will County, and then I can refer that question back to Dr. Burke.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna let Kelly ask her question, but then I'm gonna ask to hold all questions until after.
I'm
she
almost
gets-
done, yeah.
Yeah, oh,
No, I actually want to ask about the next.
okay.
Oh, for
Okay, then
Kratom.
if you could just finish and then
Yeah.
we'll continue on.
So Kratom, we want to keep a kind of an eye out on that too. I think we touched back in August, I believe, but Kratom is in the coffee family, which is actually okay, but with people using Kratom, it's also mixed with other additives. So people use Kratom for pain relief, mood enhancement, managing their opioid withdrawal, stimulation, energy boost, and then culturally it's from Southeast Asia. Kratom is an opioid and can be addictive. And like I said, it's always could be mixed with other additives. We're watching, it's in smoke shops, it's in all of those different places where kids can get them. Kratom can be reversed by Narcan though. So it can be reversed by Narcan. So there's been very, very little research on it when it comes to the usage as a holistic way of maybe someone using it for pain. So we're just monitoring it because, like I said, when you go into smoke, there's like 7-OH, and I think we touched on it a few months ago. That's the additive that is bad. So I don't, not really crazy with kratom, but it has been a hot topic lately. October Substance Use and Misuse Prevention Month. So we've obviously, like I said, our team focuses on prevention. What can we do other than just giving out Narcan? What can we do to help someone break the stigma, get past their barriers, anything that we can with prevention? And then that's pretty much. And Andreas is our 402 program with suicide prevention. We've been partnering, so that's kind of a little bit of his update, doing mental health first aid training. He worked with Beecher Fire, collaborative with the Will County Health Department, us rapid response team, and then who we met with, Frankfurt, Wilmington, Shorewood Fire Departments for project training. That's that.
All good?
Yep. This is not my wheelhouse.
No, you're
I
doing
just type
great.
it up.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming. And I just wanted to ask two quick questions. One is with regard to kratom, is there a way to find out how many people are going into rehab for kratom use, or is it just the synthetic component?
It's the synthetic component, and I could double check on that because we've been working. So we do a lot of work with Stepping Stones and with Gateway, and that was one thing I've been working with Dr. Burke is trying to find out that if what they're seeing with that. So I think the up has been really marijuana use with people going in with THC, but I would be curious to look at that too. So that's why we're keeping an eye on it. So that's what's good about that. We'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you. Because I've just out on Facebook and seeing in some of my mom's groups where people are sharing anecdotally that their loved one has gone through, addiction and for opioids, come off and then somehow ended up on kratom and had to go back.
They want,
So,
you want that a holistic way of pain relief. You want some way of, going back to something that's going to help you. And well, this is holistic. This is okay. And anything can be addictive. So and especially want to protect our kids because it's so easily accessible that we want to just keep an eye on it because anything is, and addiction is it's a brain disease, and it's, we want to make sure it's changing people's way of thinking when it comes to pain relief, when it comes to alcohol use, when it comes to anything. So, so.
yeah, it's a lifelong process.
It is a life-
and
yes, it is.
so it can be that it takes multiple attempts at
Mhm.
sobriety, but I worry that there are people that are getting kind of duped into using this because there are so many.
Because it's the additives,
Right.
and that's what's causing the issue. And
Perfect.
that's 7-OH, and that's that additive.
Okay, and then the other question real quick is that I know the big red boxes, obviously I've seen those all over, but then I think Dr. Burke mentioned that there were smaller ones that kind of hang on the wall that she's looking at.
Yeah, she's looking into those. We did receive some extra funding. So we're looking at smaller areas like the VFW. Some want them. The Lions Club in Wilmington want some. We're also kind of looking into, probably not a thing to talk about, but the marijuana shops, they want to keep like a small box on hand. So we're looking at all different areas just to make sure we're covering and we're continue to cover the best that we can.
Perfect. I was going to ask where they were going to go.
Yep.
So that makes so much sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I have two real quick questions because I know we're really short on time with land use coming up or right now. Carfentanil, did I say that right?
Fentanyl, yes.
Fentanyl. They're getting it from vets, and is it reversible with Narcan?
It is. It's just going to take a lot of doses
lot.
to do it. Yes.
And where are they getting this? I mean, if
I-
it's for
I-
vets, how the Billy Blue Whistles are they
Listen.
getting this?
I would like to know that too. And I'd like, especially since it was so close to home with this person, I would love to research where he bought, I don't want to quite ask to ask that question, but where did he buy it from? Who did he buy it from? And how did he get it? Anything, the dealers are not, they're not
They're very
chemists.
creative.
They're not chemists, and sometimes that middle person doesn't know where they're getting, they're thinking they're getting what they're going to sell, but they're not. And so they're putting all these powders and pressing them together, and
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, back to Kratom. You said it's holistic. What does that mean?
It's like a holistic grown plant, so it grows. So
What's holistic mean?
holistic means natural.
It's a plant.
Yeah, so it's natural. If you go to the chiropractor, that's a holistic way of recovery.
Okay, so cannabis is a plant too.
And
So is tobacco.
right, and
So
some
my
use it
question is,
holistically.
and thank you for this information. How is Kratom different from cannabis?
Oh, it's much different.
How?
I don't know the whole scientific between the two, but it's a different way of, so you've got marijuana, which is, comes from the THC plant. Kratom is in an opioid family. So it's they come from different families, if that makes sense.
Okay, so they're different families.
Right.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean one's worse than the other. I have gone to the marijuana stores.
Mhm.
I've, and it's legal now, not only medicinal, but
Right.
recreation in
Right.
Illinois. And it's scary what you can get when you go to a cannabis store. It's
Right.
outright scary. I mean, you can blow your mind away if you want to. You can create your own high, your own experience. It's beyond what I ever dreamed we would have. And it's all legal. What I'm reading here about Kratom, it's no different from cannabis. All of the impacts and all of the usage, it's pain relief, mood enhancement. This is why people are using cannabis as well. But I bring that up because I think people tend to forget that we've legalized and we're, enjoying the tax revenues from a drug, from cannabis. But we've forgotten that cannabis as well is addictive, does lead to other drug use. And I know because I have family members who have worked in drug rehabilitation, and they can link the use of cannabis to a gradual use to heroin or any other deadly barbiturate. There's a distinct link there. And I do know that Linden Oaks and they have programs for addiction, for marijuana use. And so I mean, Kratom to me looks like it's pretty much the same thing. So I just get back to where I feel all of this is concerning. I don't feel Kratom is the only thing. I think we ought to be looking at what we're doing to our population with encouraging the use of cannabis. I think it's scary. I think I see a lot of people who their everyday lives have really been altered because they've grown accustomed to using this product, which we, I mean, and I'm curious when we're evaluating this usage, and I would love to have a in-depth conversation with the coroner about this. When she's testing for drugs, she obviously can find out if it's Kratom versus cannabis, correct?
Yeah, there's testing for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think,
Yes, so.
I
think
want
it's
to
fair say
answer that.
Yeah.
And I'll be really fast. It's almost like with alcohol use, and you legalize something, and how do you deal with that? Because it's the same with alcohol. Now that something is legal, you can't ban it because they tried that again. So all we can do is look at it, look at the strands that are offered in the shops, look at those, the strands, the purpose of people going in there. There are people who use marijuana and it's okay for them. There are people who use marijuana and it's not okay for them. So it is scary. That's why there's, legislation, who can buy it. It's still following 21 and over. That's a whole big question that everything is concerning, being a person with lived experience, I have to watch everything that I do. So that's like probably a good
So,
topic for another time.
so I mean, this new drug that you're talking about,
Kratom.
kratom, they can overdose.
They can
and
overdose on
die,
it, sure.
but you can't overdose and die from cannabis.
Well, it depends. That depends. That's like another
I
topic.
mean,
It
there's
depends.
probably a very small
Yes.
number in the world
That have
who actually
overdosed.
overdosed and died. So there's one
One factor, yes.
difference. Okay. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
all that. I appreciate it.
Have a great week.
Thanks for filling in at short notice like that. Okay. Next we have from Sunny Hill, Maggie McDowell to give her update.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'll make this very brief because I know there's another follow-up meeting. So everybody should have a copy of the report that went out. Obviously, one of the highlights for Sunny Hill was our annual Alzheimer's Walk, which occurred back in September. And we really had a wonderful turnout for that. Thank you to the county executive for coming and pushing one of our residents around the campus. We had also representatives from the Alzheimer's Association. So we really did, and we also met our goal in terms of, from a monetary perspective, we did raise over $2,000 with that. So that was wonderful. So thank you to everybody who contributed. Also, just to kind of segue on breast cancer awareness, obviously we did a posting on Facebook, and we actually got all our staff, or a large majority of our staff and residents, and we have that picture that is featured there. But again, we wanted to endorse, the raising of awareness about breast cancer, promoting that early detection, and supporting research and treatment initiatives. Also, just to give some feedback with regards to our Back to School drive, that initiative that was run by Life Engagement, that we did make a donation to Sherry Moss, who is the principal of Grand Prairie Elementary School in Joliet. And I do want to kind of acknowledge and give kudos to all the residents, families, and staff that contributed with that. Also, just another quick note here with regards to our master craftsman in our lower level patio. I have included that wonderful creation that Bill Baker created for us. He is so talented. So the residents and our families really appreciate our Friends of Sunny Hill, who actually donated the funding to actually get that completed. So we appreciate that. A quick note, we've got our Home for the Holidays celebration, which is our biggest celebration of the year coming up. That is on December 13th. So please mark your calendars if you want to join us. And then Newsweek again this year has acknowledged Sunny Hill in terms of our ranking out of over 600 nursing homes in Illinois. We currently rank at number 3 for facilities that have 150 plus beds. So again, we appreciate that. And I've given you an outline of kind of what the prerequisites and how they've determined that. And again, we cannot use any of this to obviously promote Sunny Hill per se. I've brought this to the board previously. We have to purchase a licensure in order to be able to do that. And without purchasing that, we can't use it for promotional use of the logo, the title, or the certification. So I'm just sharing it with this board internally. I can't use it externally to promote, Sunny Hill per se. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm trying to help a neighbor, and so I have a question. Do we do any rehab at all at our nursing home? Or is it just for like permanent residency?
Yes, we do. You mean if somebody needs to have PTOT or ST, which is physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy? Yes, we do outpatient therapy.
Do we do inpatient therapy?
Well, inpatient therapy is what we do
Rehab.
because we're a skilled nursing facility.
And then second to that, do we have the ability to treat or assist a bariatric patient?
It depends. We have had bariatric residents come in because obviously when we review and we make a determination about an admission, we have to make sure that we are able to provide the care that is necessary for that individual. There have been times where we've had residents that, require a larger bed. When we purchased our new beds, we took that into consideration where we have the ability to extend and expand the beds so that if we, are looking to take a larger size resident or a bariatric size resident, we have that ability. Again, those are things that we look at and evaluate. It would depend on a case-by-case basis.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming and we enjoyed your report. And so if there are no announcements, there's no report by the chair, no need for executive session. Can I get our next meeting is December 4th, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.